afternoon. This is a little tall, but we'll be okay. Yes, I spent some time living and working in Gaza, and I went with my heart open. I went being a supporter of what was happening to, or not what was happening to Palestinians, but being a supporter of the Palestinians without really knowing what that was like. And I'm grateful for the chance to live there, because when you live there and you realize very shortly, in a few number of weeks, you can suddenly differentiate between different types of artillery. I'm a Canadian. I live out this beautiful, peaceful part of our country. Never in my life did I dream I would be able to differentiate between different types of artillery. Did it come from a tank? Did it come from the sea? Was it being shot out of a gun? What was it? And when you have that reality sinking into your brain, you start to understand what this is like to actually have to live in Gaza, the ongoing trauma. We talk about PTSD. Gaza doesn't talk about PTSD because there is no P to the TSD. You need a post in order to start to recover from trauma. In Gaza, they have nothing but ongoing trauma, all the time. Just when you think there's a break, you never know when there's a break. I was teaching a group of grade 3 children one day, and we were in the upper floor of our school, and the windows were awesome because they would show us the sky. It wasn't just windows on the wall like we're used to. These windows went up to the ceiling. And as I was reading them a story, now keep in mind, these are grade 3 children. These are 8-year-olds. 8-year-olds, for reference, are about this big. And as we sat there, 2 Israeli F-16s flew overhead. And everybody held their breath, and every eye went to the sky. And I'm standing there in front of these kids watching the fear and horror on their little faces. These planes were not low flying, they were high flying, but these kids knew what that could mean for them that day, or what it might not mean. That's part of the terror for these children, is you never know. Because those are the planes that quite frequently drop something. And you don't know. And as I was watching these children, I thought to myself, hold on a second, I'm from BC, I got this. We do emergency preparedness from when we're young. Now, I was trying to remember, do we go under the desks? Is it in the doorway? Do we go in the hall, or do we get outside? And I realized in a stunning moment that was all for an earthquake. What were we gonna do in case those planes actually dropped payload on that school that day? And I realized there was nothing we could do. And all I wanted to do was, if this was our last moment together, I didn't want these little kids to be afraid. That was all I could give them. And so I brought this story to a whole nother level. I got their attention off the sky, back onto the story, and just kept praying, not today. Just let these kids live today. That's the reality of life in Gaza in quote unquote peaceful times. There was no alleged war going on officially. That's a whole different story in reality. But officially, there was no war going on in Gaza at the time that I was there. And yet there was constant artillery, constant somebody getting bombed, and these children were constantly terrified of the torments that were in the sky. When I think back to this last year, I'm sickened. I'm speechless, because these children who at least used to have a break from the terror have had zero break from the terror. And worse than that, they've lost siblings, they've lost their own limbs, they've lost parents, they've lost friends. When I was there, every family that was represented in my classes, every single family had lost somebody. And that is multiplied innumerably now. We have to remember that this is not about politics, although politics are obviously huge up here. This is about human lives. This is about families. This is about dads who want to provide for their families. This is about moms who want to take care of their kids. But so many of them, their children are no more. And they didn't get to die quietly. We need to bear in mind the humanity, the suffering that's going on here. And we want justice for those people who deserve justice. And if they're human, they deserve justice. Even the Israelis, they deserve justice. And justice is not found by slaughtering their neighbors. That doesn't free anybody. And I've been to Israel too, and the mindset is so horrifying because they are taught, repeat to each other that every Gazan child is nothing more than a potential terrorist, so go ahead and kill them. The dehumanization that's going on is rampant and widespread. And if we want to take a stand for justice and humanity, then we need to stand tall. And we need to summon all of our strength and all of our wisdom. And we need to risk getting shot down. We need to risk it because there's people who are losing everything. I have a friend, he was a journalist in Gaza. He's currently doing journalism work, freelance, because there's not a lot of work to go on. He's living in a tent. He was living in Deir al-Balah. I don't know where he lives now. But his teenage son, Philip was talking about the children who just can't bear to live like this. His 16-year-old son told him a few months ago, if this goes on for one more month, I'm killing myself because I can't live like this. When we stand up and we raise our voices for Palestine, let's raise them for these distraught teenagers who are about to end their own lives. We know that in our country, we have a big enough tragedy with young people wanting to end their own lives. How much more that these children in Gaza who don't have anybody who can convince them that tomorrow will be better than yesterday was. We need to convince them, not just convince them, we need to usher in a better tomorrow for these children, for their families, to give them hope. That's what this is about. It's about the people, it's about humanity, it's about fighting for justice, where justice has been denied way too long and on such a breathtaking scale. It's hard to know where to begin. Focus on the people who need our help and work for them. Work for Nabil, work for Sama, work for each of these people, work for Hamoudi, work for Dina. When you do that, when you keep the humanity in front of you, it's easy to know the next right thing to do. My friend Dina, when I was here and she was there, I phoned her one day and Israel was encroaching as they always are. They were rolling in their troops as they always do. Whether you hear it on the news or not, it doesn't matter. It's still going on. It's just whether or not our news considers it newsworthy or not. But I phoned Dina one day and I said, I'm so sorry. I wish there was something I could do to relieve this for you, but I can't. And her words to me that day have stuck to me until now. And she said to me, Linda, when we're here, knowing that somebody out there cares about us, it means something. So when you think there's nothing you can do, reach out to the humans on the other side of the equation. Reach out to them and go, hey, I'm thinking about you, I'm praying for you, I'm working, I'm showing up, I'm doing what I can to sway my politicians to stand up to your politicians. Nobody expects us to all of a sudden move in and change everything, but if we all did something, and if we all just kept doing that something, we would reach the people on the other side and don't let them go down in silence and in darkness like what's been happening. Let's keep fighting, let's keep raising our voices and keep reaching out. We all have access to computers. You can all access individuals in Gaza, individuals in the West Bank, individuals who are under the threat of they could be next. Tomorrow could be their last day. This evening could be their last night. Don't let them go down in silence. Don't let them go down and be forgotten. Say their names so that the world knows who they are and what they stand for and what we as humans stand for.